Hey everyone, it's Justin and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a nighttime lantern inspired card by some new scrapbook.com exclusive products. For this card, I'm going to be featuring the Lights and Lanterns rub-on transfers, and I love this rub-on transfer set. It's so much fun. You can get a bunch of great use out of it, and we're going to be using it with the Brights Smooth cardstock. I'm just going to be grabbing this sort of standard blue color from the blend, and we're going to build our background on this piece of cardstock. Now I am going to use some prize ribbon distress ink on top of my colored cardstock, and I'm going to use the domed foam ink blending tool by scrapbook.com to bring that prize ribbon color out towards the other end of the card. One of my biggest tips when blending with colored cardstock is to use the distress inks because they work really well. Just like right now, I'm building on top of that prize ribbon distress ink with some chipped sapphire distress ink, and it's starting to build up in color and give a really nice sort of light blue to dark blue ombre. So I make sure that as I'm pulling that color out more, that I'm reducing pressure so I'm getting a great blend. And we're going to finish off this blend using some black soot distress ink at the very top. This is going to help give us that night sky sort of effect. So I've gone ahead, I'm blending out with that domed foam ink blending tool, trying to blend everything so it's as smooth as possible, but I'm also going to give you a couple tips and tricks as well to help those skies become perfect. So we're going to start with the distress sprayer. I took the nozzle off and I'm going to just splatter some water directly onto my panel. Now because those distress inks are water reactive, that means that when I go ahead and I put a clean microfiber towel on top and pull it up, I am going to get a really fun speckled effect. I'm also going to use some of the paper watercolor splatter by Picket Fence Studio. This is liquid gold and this is liquid white snowflake, and I'm going to use these to help build up a starry night sky. I wet them down a little bit with some water. I take a clean brush for watercoloring and I just go ahead and splatter it lightly onto my card. I am splattering with the white snowflake first and then moving on to the liquid gold because I figured this would be a great way to keep that true white color and not risk accidentally cross-contaminating it with some of the gold, because I am going to be using the same brush for this. I don't need to pull two different ones out. So once I have my splatters all completed, I take my heated tool and I just quickly use it on top of my panel to dry all of my liquid watercolor paper splatters. So this is a great tool to have on hand, and once they're set, we're going to grab our Lights and Lanterns rub-on transfers, and I am going to be using the crescent moon lanterns for my card. I just thought against a night sky that these moons would look really pretty, and I take my scissors and I go ahead and I cut them out. Now, one thing that I would like to pass along to you, these lights do have a portion that is almost like a little bit of a glow area around them. So you're not going to want to cut directly out each of the crescent shapes. You're going to want to watch and make sure that you're cutting where the glow still is, cutting around that so you're still using it. So I'm going to go ahead, trim off my excess, and then begin the process of using my mini popsicle stick to transfer the rub-on onto my card. I really do love using rub-on transfers, but one thing that I like to pass along is to just be patient when you're using them. You're going to want to make sure that you are carefully applying each portion of that rub-on to your card, and then when you think that you've applied everything, very slowly begin to peel back that acetate. And just if you find that a little bit is coming up from the acetate that you might have forgotten to press down with the rub-on tool, aka the mini popsicle stick, just very carefully put the acetate back down on the paper and then push it down with the tool and then begin the process of pulling it up again. And you're going to get a really nice clean rub-on. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this down to about 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. This is going to allow me to get a nice white frame along my card when I adhere it to a white card base. This is a tip that I like to pass along, as that really helps give a nice finished edge to your project when you have that nice white frame. Now let's work on our sentiment. I'm going to grab some black mixed media cardstock, which has a really fantastic heavy weight to it, and I'm going to use it with the Happy Birthday stamp set. I'm going to place this scripty Happy Birthday set along with the Best Day Ever stamp sentiment as well, and we're going to put them into place and then use our Rose Quartz Misty to pick them up. I am also going to be using the Magic Anti-Static Brush Tool by Pink and Main to help create that anti-static with the paper, so that way I won't have any stray pieces of embossing powder when we get to it. I do want to talk about this stamp set for a hot second. I love this for birthday cards. There are so many fun ways to say happy birthday, and this stamp set gets a lot of use in my stash. So I've gone ahead and I've stamped out my sentiment, and I'm going to use some frosting embossing powder on top of that embossing ink that we went ahead and stamped out. And then once I have everything all put in place, I like to clean it up a little bit very gently with a brush, and I'm going to use a heat tool to go ahead and set my sentiment. Just keep an eye when you're using that heat tool. Once your sentiment or stamped out area begins to turn color, you'll know what I'm talking about when it's happening. That means that that area is done. So I'm going to use the Happy Birthday shape dies, which coordinates with the set, and we're going to use some mint tape to tack down our dies, and then we will process them through our die cutting machine. I love using the mint tape just to help hold those dies into place, and that makes sure that I'm getting a perfect cut when I am processing it through. I do go ahead and use my Spellbinders Platinum 6 die cutting machine in this scrapbook.com exclusive black color to die cut my sentiment out, and now we can work on adding some mini foam squares to the back of our sentiment bits. So I do have that happy birthday sentiment all situated and ready to go. I place a lot of these mini foam squares on top. I don't really believe that there is something as too much foam tape. I think the more foam tape that you have on the back of an element, the more secure it's going to be to your project, and the more all of the elements of the foam taped element will stay raised up. So I'm using an excessive amount of foam squares, but hey, it's going to hold my sentiment nice and in place, and I'm also going to place it on the back of that Best Day Ever as well. I thought using Best Day Ever would be a fun way to pull a little bit of inspiration from the movie Tangled. Now, I could have used a purple background with the lanterns, and I think that would have been just perfect, but I decided to put my own little blue spin on it. But yes, I am pulling a little bit of inspiration from the movie Tangled with the lanterns and the sentiment of Best Day Ever. I think they go really well together. So once I have both of my sentiments set into place, I'm going to use my Misty Precision Glue Press to adhere my panel to my A2 card base. Now remember, we did go ahead and trim down our panel so that it was about 1/8 of an inch short on each side, and that leaves us with this super pretty white frame around our card. We're almost done, but we're not fully there yet. We are going to finish off our card once everything is adhered to our base with some white satin pearl pops of color. This is going to allow us to just get some really nice embellishment onto our card. This plays with that white snowflake paper splatter that we used earlier, and it also coordinates with the frosting embossing powder that we used as well. Once I get all of my dots put into place, I'm going to pick up my card and start gently flicking the back, and this is going to help set those dots so that they maintain more of a circular sort of pattern on the card, and also sort of deflate it so there's no jagged raised areas. So once that's all completed, we've got our happy birthday card ready to go. I think this card is super sweet, and I know someone is going to love to see this in their mailbox and to open up on their special day. I hope this card provides you with a lot of fun, crafty inspiration for your next scrapbook.com birthday card you want to go ahead and create. Thank you once again for stopping by my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you real soon. Have a great day, everyone. Goodbye.